Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Britballin. I am your single host tonight. Unfortunately, there's no Spice Girl here tonight. He's hurt his ankle. He's stepped on a ball or something like that. He's giving me some bullshit excuse, and he's going to the doctors or something like that. He's going to a massage parlour tonight, so he can't be joining us. So there'll be no Spice Girl tonight, but I didn't want to do the show alone, and this guy's been begging me to come on the show for so long that I thought I'd finally give in. No, I'm joking. Welcome to the show, Sam. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. I can't remember bedding though.
Honestly,
I remember you kicking off.
I remember
you kicking off about me being elsewhere one time, but not sure I was begging. But yeah, bit of a cop-out excuse from Madden that. So yeah, I'm not going to do my Gateshead accent though.
Are you good? The question is, will you sing us a bit of Spice Girls? That's the question on everyone's lips.
It depends on the song. They do. You know what? To be honest, if any Spice Girl song is an absolute banger, to be honest. It's I'd probably go Viva Forever and Break Some Hearts.
Yeah. I two become one. Like me and you want to become one. How are we doing anyway? So pleasure to have you on the show. It's been a while coming. We've talked about it a long time. Actually, since the show was going to begin, I think he was one of the guys I approached to actually help me out in the interim. But I think obviously you concentrated on your game more than you're talking about the game. But it's a pleasure to have you on. I've titled the show as MVP. Absolute shout out. Big early shout here. I've got you as my league MVP. What's your numbers this year, Sam? Come on, yell them out.
My numbers actually have been easy to track because Chris Peel does stats for most of our games. I don't know yardage, but I'm on 41 total touchdowns. Don't get me started on Enya. That's bad time, that, Corey. 41 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
All to middle linebackers.
Two sacks, shout out O-line. One of them was my fault. So yeah, pretty good.
I'd love to know who gave up the other sack on the O-line. Bet it's Chris Peel. He's easy to pick Chris Peel.
I would like to point, but I'd say you one person it wasn't Corey Deer.
No. I mean, it's going to be hard to beat 41 touchdowns. If anyone can comment an MVP who definitely has more than 41 touchdowns, then they get it. But for me, 41 touchdowns, 9-0 in an 8-game season, pretty impressive performance here, Sam, from you. Just following on from last year's.
We're going with the narrative of 11-0.
Because
Holton forfeited 2 games. So we're going to run with that narrative and turn a blind eye when anyone says anything different.
Yeah, that's fair enough. 11-0. An impressive season. How have you found the season? It's been a bit different to usual. How have you found it? Obviously, I've given my opinions previously, but what about for yourself and the Titans as a whole? How have you found the season so far?
Yeah, so obviously we all had to get over the initial disappointment at the start of the season when we figured, when we realised that it wasn't going to be the Prem that we were hoping for. We'd recruited some pretty key positions, some guys who've come in and done a great job for us. We were really excited to get going. And then there was a bit of a blow, really, to find out that we wouldn't be, doing what we'd kind of really looked forward to and planned for. So I suppose once we got over that disappointment, we kind of started focusing on the season. And, it started off really well, but as I'm sure a lot of other people found, it has really been tough to motivate yourself late on in the season. Like, not in any way to offend the teams that we played, but once you've played a team, so take the Wolverines, for example. I'm not going to make the excuses about who was missing and who wasn't. I'm literally just going to talk about motivation. We beat them 83-0, and then we've got, a practice or two in place before we go and play them. And, football's football, so you're excited to go down and practice and stuff like that. But it's not the same as, like, you've got Edinburgh away, and you know that's always a tough fixture because you travel light and you know they're better at home, and it's really tough to motivate yourself late on in the season for those fixtures where you've already, had a really good performance.
I think that's especially with the Prem North. Sorry to interrupt. The Prem North's different as well because any team can beat any team on the day, right? So that's always been the case in the Prem North. We've seen it firsthand. We beat Tamworth 21-0, which I remind Jason every time I speak to him. But then we could go to Edinburgh and lose or get beat off.
And I think something that people often don't take into account when it comes to fixtures, not fixtures in general, but fixtures against teams who are really familiar with each other. So we know Sheffield really well. We know Merseyside really well. And I think a lot of people don't take into account just the fact that you match up differently against different teams. Like certain defenses we match up really well against, and other defenses we have to work a lot harder to beat. Then you have all of the other added kind of things that come into play, like who have you got on the day? Are people healthy? And do you perform on the day? Do you execute? And ultimately, there's just so many different things that come into play against each individual opponent. Like, look at every single team that we've played in the past 2 years in the Prem, and we've either performed really well against them or we've performed really poorly against them. 6-0 against Sheffield away a couple of years ago. Yeah, we had some injuries, but they just matched up really well that day. Edinburgh away, we lost. Merseyside, we always dropped a game at their place. Tamworth, the second game, it was raining really heavily, and that's literally all you need to know.
Yeah, Manchester. We should be better in the rain. Like, Manchester's known for rain, yet we're so bad. And then Grant straight away, is it raining? Grant knows first half.
I got nothing else to say. Unfortunately, I literally. So after this, you'll be interested to know this, Grant. After the game against you guys, when it rained really bad in that first half, and we attempted like 2 or 3 passes. Luke Carlton, our offensive coordinator, he brought a bucket up to the field and he filled it with water. And legitimately, before I threw any pass, and it was a heavy pass session, before I threw any pass, my hands had to be dipped in the bucket, and the ball had to be dipped in the bucket as well. You've got guys like Stuart Robinson who's helping me out, and he's like dipping balls in the bucket before I'm about to go. And then when we're in scrimmage, Irish, as lots of people know him, Stuart Robinson, he's got a bottle of water. We're doing like full scout reps. He's coming over, pouring bottles of water on my hands before we're taking reps, like on a full drive in scrimmage. And I'm not going to go ahead and say that I'm now an elite passer in the rain.
Yeah.
But Luke spent some time with me and we worked out a different grip because everyone knows that I sidearm it, so it's no secret. The placement of the ball when it comes at my release point for a normal quarterback is up, and so you have that hand over the ball.
Yeah.
When I release, it comes out here, so there's nothing on top of the ball to keep it kind of where I want it to go.
Yeah.
We've slightly adjusted my grip when it is wet, and we had a few wet ball practices, and we also played Chester in the rain. And it wasn't as bad as Nottingham, but it was pretty bad rain. Unfortunately, I managed to pass for 5 touchdowns in the rain. So I'm not going to say I've turned a corner, but Luke really spent a lot of time working on that in practice. Thank God.
Well, Russell from Hearts has said, obviously, awesome numbers, Sam. Great season for you. A couple of guys coming in, Craig Oliphant, that's my QB. I'm going to say we've actually got Titans watching tonight for a change. People say it must be your polarising character, Sam. Get on with the Darlington's team review. No, we will not talk about the Darlington's team today because of previous. I reckon these two are responsible for 90% of the Titans roster and probably everyone else's roster for who we don't recruit.
There's a long off season ahead, trust me.
I know, yeah. We'll get our big board out again, Sam. Is it raining? Sam, there are some rain practice balls on the market with shitty grip, but assuming they're just Wilson composites.
I don't use composite balls. Who's that? Is that Wet Josh?
That's Wet Josh.
That's Wet Josh, that.
Aquaman Reborn. And then, for some reason, my dad just saying good one.
Oh.
Cheers, Jim.
Nice one, Jim.
Just drop us a text, Jim. It's right, good one. Right, okay. So obviously, season was a bit up and down. Was you just happy that there was football, or are you of the same opinion?
Yeah. So initially, I was really happy there was football, and then there was the Prem season decision, and then it was a little bit of a knockback, and then you sort of your first 2 or 3 games, you're like, oh, it's football, it's football, it's football. You get halfway through the year, and don't get me wrong, you go into a game and you're still motivated because you're a competitor, and you lead in a group of guys. So you still go into that game as a competitor, but it isn't the same. So whilst there's the element of being happier that football's back, that does obviously wear thin when you're injured. You've got to go to a Wednesday raining practice when you live an hour and a half away, an hour away from practice. And you're getting back at like midnight, when you're sitting there thinking, oh God, I wouldn't mind a Wednesday off.
But we keep scheduling friendlies. So we
keep scheduling extra games. And I'm sure lots of people know here that I'm as it currently stands, I'm actually the only currently rostered quarterback that the Manchester Titans adult team have. So any quarterbacks out there who want to come and get some Prem experience next year, we need that. Who's that? Never heard of him.
I don't know. Never. Some guy.
He'll be off to Poland again, that lad.
So what was, obviously you've mentioned there, you are obviously the only rostered quarterback. So what did you think about some people's approach to this year? Because from what we can see from the Titans, and I do take a bit of I know I play for the Titans, everyone, but obviously sometimes I separate. What do you think about the Titans' approach compared to other teams' approach where it was all rotation heavy? The Titans are coming under some pressure this year because they're just blowing teams out and they're just putting up big scores. And, like yourself, you've put up 41 touchdowns. People will be saying, should you have put up 41 touchdowns? Should other guys, you're just routing people? What's your thoughts on what should have been everyone's approach? Because to me, I know my opinion is we didn't sign up for the season. We wanted to play Prem football. So, go out and beat everyone and prove a point that you're the best team in the North. What about your thoughts on that?
It's a mixed bag, really. I don't blame any team for the approach that they have, I suppose. Oh, Grant, I tried. Chester have got 3 QBs. I've been in their inbox. I've been on Josh Mills. I tried to get our junior quarterbacks in. Chris Winrow, if you're listening, I'll see you soon. I've tried. I don't blame any team for the approach they take, but that doesn't mean that we have to, I suppose, be kind about our approach. So I don't know. I'm kind of in a position where people think that we might not have rotated a lot, but our second string quarterback is actually one of our starting receivers. So when we rotate our receiver out to give him a rest and give other guys time, it's a case of, okay, well, our backup receivers aren't going to get time with a quarterback. They're going to get time with a guy who can run extremely well, but basically he can pass a little bit, but he's basically a runner. Yeah. I think the teams who play us know that we did rotate plenty. Our offensive line in all games was constantly rotating, and Luke had that approach, and he won't mind me saying that I hated it. I hate the rotations, basically just because. Can you hear my cat?
No.
I'm not sure if you can hear. Oh, that's good then.
You pussy cat.
Oh, don't say that word. God,
weird situation.
It's a long story. Anyway, I hated the rotation approach just because I want to win and I want to do it convincingly. But it is what it is. We got plenty of guys reps, and I think that some people got a chance this year to show that they're very capable. Would we have wanted a Premier where we don't rotate as much? Yes, we didn't get it, and so I suppose for the good, for the good that it's done for our backups, didn't rotate. Yeah, exactly.
25.
We had ridiculous amounts of starters. Our starters are paying however much they're paying in subs. Probably, annoyed because they don't get the reps that they feel that they deserve for their talent levels.
I've said it before on air. Our second string, no disrespect, are better than most teams' first string. Our third string, if we put out a all third string team, it could compete in Div 2, maybe even Div 1, and that's just the standard. You can be a little bit more humble. I do this. That's the difference. And Tamworth are probably the same. But that is the difference. If we rotate, I'm thinking about who our starters would be on offensive line and wide receiver and running back. If I took those out and we was without all of them, we'd still, I think, beat every team we played this year. Other than you, because I don't think we'd. That's because we've not got a backup, really.
Well, yeah. I mean, one thing that we kind of in camp joke about is basically the fact that that people will look at us and say, "Oh, the Manchester Titans aren't rotating." What they really mean is the quarterback isn't coming out.
Yeah.
That's what they really actually mean.
It's because they're not paying attention.
That must be it.
That's it.
They're not paying attention to how much the O-line are rotating, how much the receivers or the running backs are rotating. The fact that we had and absolutely no offense to him, but I think he's our sixth string running back against one of the teams we played this year. He racked up like 140 yards and like a touchdown or two. And he was our starter. He was our starting running back for that game, just because our other running backs were out of the country or taking the year off or whatever it was.
And to be fair, it's give you guys a good season. Matt Wade just give it to MGA. I remember the first couple of games, and Max won't mind me saying this. He came up from the under 19s. He looked absolutely lost when I was watching him. He was even at training, he was dropping balls, didn't know what he was doing. Didn't know routes, and probably towards the end of the season was one of our best players. So it's worked in our favour in terms of rotating guys, because those guys, the problem is made us better because those guys have came on so much. Now I can hear you.
Yeah, well, not only that, one of the it's the real benefit of the B team. We have really benefited from the B team because we've been able to send our true rookies to the B team, and we've also been able to send some of those guys who could really just do with a lot of time focusing on kind of one-to-one type stuff, giving them that time to go to the B team, which means that basically the A team, or I don't know what to call them, the B team, the Prem team, whatever it is, they're basically exclusively made up of either experienced players or players who have significant talent and who have decided, I'm going to stick around here. We don't, you'll know this, but just for everyone else, we don't send people to the B team. We give them the option. Stick around on the A team if you want. However, you have to basically earn your reps in practice and in a game. And, like you said, Max Gracie Ainscoe, the kid's a freak. Like, he's an absolute freak. And, just the fact that he's managed to come around at the start of the year, like you said, he was taking a little bit of time to grasp the playbook, and then all of a sudden he's blowing up on special teams, he's blowing up on offense, and there's guys who've done that on both sides of the ball as well this year, and it's encouraging for next year for sure.
Yeah, but I suppose that's probably enough about Titans for now. I've got one question for you. Would you have won the Prem North had it have been this year?
If it was anybody else in the Prem North who was saying this, they'd say the same answer as I did. So I feel no shame or embarrassment at saying, yeah, we would. Tamworth had backed themselves. Merseyside had backed themselves. I back us. We'd have won the Prem North.
Right, we're gonna rattle through some fixtures from this week. So it'd be nice to talk to someone. Go on, sort your cat out.
You sort it out, because believe it or not, my cat has actually brought in a dead squirrel.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, you just drop off a minute. I'll rattle through some of these fixtures. You sort your dead squirrel out and your cat. Or your second pet. Right, I'm going to rattle through some of these fixtures while Sam literally goes and either kills his cat or kills the dead squirrel, which obviously might be the case. Who coaches these kids at under 19? Fantastic lighting on that picture, Homer. There's no way whatsoever you've got those kind of arms. And that must be all those sleeveless T-shirts that you wear. Shout out to the Bees from David Stretch. Max hasn't even got started yet. The kid is good. I think it was some male model from Chris Peel. Show us the squirrel. Yeah, it depends what you're asking for. F for the squirrel. Yeah, the squirrel's getting more love than me as usual on the show, so don't worry about it too much, guys. Thanks very much. But we're going to crack on with some results. So Clyde Valley Blackhawks beat the Dumfries Hunters. I think that was a return fixture. There's actually, wasn't it? You see the squirrel? There's the squirrel. Is it actually a live squirrel? He's gone. That was weird. So great result for Clyde Valley. I think that's a reverse on the fixture. I think Dumfries won last time, so good result for them. Darlington Steam. So last time I had a bet with Adam, and Adam's obviously lost a bet or two in his time. I thought the Darlington Steam would beat Gateshead Senators last time. Unfortunately, they didn't. Gateshead won. I would like to know the tail of the tape on this one, Darren. But yeah, fortunately for them, Darlington won this time. So I was kind of right in backing them last time, but yeah, they won this time. So Darlington, I hate you. You're welcome very much, Darren. Sam's back with us. Squirrel gone. Muted. You need to unmute yourself. 1 minute. We're just waiting for him. We'll get an update on the squirrel, guys. Don't worry. No, it's not alive. It won't be again.
F's in the chat for the squirrel.
Yeah, F's in chats for the squirrel. Was it a real life squirrel?
This is the problem.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can hear you. Sam, coming in. There's a cat. Is that the squirrel murderer?
Oh,
I can hear you now. Oh, you've gone again. Your sound's gone again. You came for like a brief second. Kevin Wilkins seems to have hurt his foot. I think he just doesn't want to dress as a Spice Girl. Said he's hurt his foot and he's going to the doctors for his little boo-boo. You could be the judge of it, Kevin, whether you like it or not. He had to come as a Spice Girl. He didn't come as a Spice Girl. So you can be the judge of that. Are you with us, Sam?
no, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah. I'm just desperate for the squirrel update.
Basically, I've got two cats and they are genuinely savages. They bring us all sorts of animals on a daily basis, and that squirrel was basically eaten right down the middle in the half. So I picked it up with a little bin bag, showed you a wiggle of the tail, and now it's...
That was... Oh, right, I thought it was a teddy. But that was an actual dead squirrel.
Dead squirrel. My cats are... No, they're not disgraceful. They do exactly what they're supposed to do.
There's a murder here. There's a lot of... Aaron Willis, your cats are monsters. Squirrel killer number one. They are. Like my cat sometimes brings me a little like vole every so often, or a little mouse. Very infrequently. Not as often as your savage. He's not a half-eaten cat. Not half-eaten squirrels.
Right near like a kind of, not like a forest, but a forested area in amongst the houses and that. So one of my boy cat has found like a den of voles or whatever, and every now and again we get a treat with a squirrel or a full pigeon. So
nice. Okay, yeah. Mine do mice, birds, and a dragonfly once. Well, dragonfly. I mean, it's not bragging.
Impressive. I'd love to see that.
Yeah. Right, so Darren, this is the update from the Darlington team. Took the lead on the first drive, took down by Alex Crossley again. Gateshead came back with 2 TDs, got a punt return by Mike Healy. Half was 12-14 to Gateshead. Got a TD in the third quarter for Johnny Clark. Fourth quarter had 2 drives, took 8 minutes off the clock. Gateshead drove the ball to our 7. Last play, they threw it. We batted it down. Victory formation, win, boom. Decent result for Darlington's team there, getting the reverse over Gateshead. Cat's got better stats than Sam. What's the biggest thing your cat's ever brought you? I'm assuming a pigeon.
Pigeon. Squirrels are close, but it's full-size pigeon. Here it is, one of them. Disgrace.
Murderer! Shame! Well, Well, will the cat, the Tanchester Mitons, and the squirrel, the Merseyside Might Hawks? So, yeah, fair enough.
But for people who don't know, we've got rules in place about how we communicate when it comes to kind of other teams and on social media, set in place by particular people, and they are the worst people for following it.
Yeah, don't talk about other teams.
We're saying, but
Did Adam play yesterday? No, June's commented, thought Britballin was fucking not. I thought this was Britballin, not fucking Springwatch. I mean, he's never around the point. I just imagine how long it took him to type that. That's what I always take solace in the fact. If you get a response from Matt, he's like on his phone.
to say, actually, the only time he's ever said something nice to me was when we were on your stag do, and tears in his eyes, he looked at me and he said, "You're my quarterback."
Oh, what a guy! Fuck's sake, Lee, just bat it down. Yeah.
Don't bring that up. Don't bring that up, Corey.
Season's over. Talk to me in January. Good comments coming in. Right, so yeah, appreciate it. So Nottingham Raiders 27, Humble Warhawks 23. Close game. Not only surprisingly winning that one, I think, but I thought we probably would have had Humber to win that pre-game. So good result. The one result I do want your opinion on, and I think everyone wants your opinion on. This is not a shock to me. I'm going to say it's not a shock to me. I said this a couple of weeks ago. I was close to backing them last week. I didn't. I got the Friday. I got the mocker put on because one of their players told me the starting QB was out, so I didn't really fancy him. But the Yorkshire Rams turning over the Sheffield, not Predators, Giants. What's your thoughts on that? Yorkshire, big result. We've played some good games against Yorkshire. That's a huge result.
Diplomatic here. Got to stay calm. In a rebuilding phase, or if they're not rebuilding, then maybe they're certainly not repping their starters fully. Maybe. However, Yorkshire aren't chumps. They never have been.
Never.
We played them 3 times in 2017, and they were all. Oh, where is he? Where's Holly? Yorkshire are a tough team, and it doesn't matter whether they never had like impressive numbers, but it's like playing the Scottish. They always hit you really hard. They want you to remember every single hit. So whether you come away from that game, winning by 40 points or by 6, you
feel it. You remember.
They hit you.
Led by number 40, Adam Callum. Say it, you've been sleeping on the Rams all year. I don't think we have been sleeping on the Rams all year. You've just not put up the results that we kind of wanted you to. We did back the Rams, and I've played for the Rams. I was very close to picking you over Sheffield. I just couldn't because whilst they had the inside scoop that you was closer to Sheffield in the last game than probably the score suggested, like without your starting QB, you was just a bit optimistic, what's the word? I was a bit pessimistic about it. Is that right? That sounds right.
I think the right word, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I got there in the end. So, I mean,
the thing is that hasn't that division been a bit of a mess with like forfeits and things like that? It's so tough to get a grasp of where everybody would probably be at. I think
rubbish forfeits though. So like Bobcats would forfeit when they're playing like Sheffield, and then the next week they'd turn up and be fine against Nottingham. We don't appreciate that. We don't like that. Grow up and play every game.
When I'm looking at like teams like Sheffield's results, like obviously now there's 2 that stand out to me. There's the Merseyside result, and there's the Yorkshire result. Now, obviously, everyone on any team who cares about anything is going to defend themselves and say this person was, we feel the need to do it sometimes as well. This person was missing, that person was missing, and stuff like that. Like but it's tough to gauge. But all you can go off is like the results that are actually there. And
I mean, Sheffield did get a bit stitched up this year with the amount of games they actually played. I think they only ended up playing like 2 or 3 games. But I wasn't high on Sheffield this year. I got loads of grief when I dropped them down the power rankings pretty low earlier in the season. Joke's on you guys now, because it looks like I was right, and I like being right. All the way through all the way, you bring up a game we didn't finish. We beat them, the same team, but more or less because Mark, honestly, you're overthinking it, pal. Don't worry about it. I speak to one of your top guys. I know exactly what's going on at the Rams. Don't worry, mate.
If ever, so just let everyone know, people don't hang on Googie's and Adam's word by that much.
No,
it's literally right. This show is literally like 2 people who like chat about Northern football only. By the way, Southern football. What you got X's and O's for that? You know, we just sit there. Half the time, Googie will say something, and we'll all be at practice like he's chatting shit. Like it's just 2 people's opinions. Mark, relax.
I know, and sometimes we do it just to wind people up because we get more clicks. Like, we know sometimes sliding the Titans down, we'll get more people to watch next week. It's a show. You're still watching. Thanks very much. And we know you all talk about it on Sundays on the rankings. We love it. That's what we're here for. We live for it.
It's the funniest thing, right? Because everyone will say they don't care about rankings. Like, if I sit down and really deeply think about it, I don't care about rankings, but at the same time, when I see them, I do a bit though.
If I put you 6, if I put you 6 this week, you're fuming. My inbox will light up if I put you guys at 6 this week.
Driving down. I'm paying you a visit.
Yeah, you sliding. I'll let you have. I tell you what. When we get to the rankings, you can choose where the Titans go because I will probably agree anyway. Steve didn't forfeit 1 game.
Headed approach to it. Sorry, you go.
No, Steve didn't forfeit 1 game. It's easy to talk over you, by the way, because the first bit of when you're talking every time, I don't know if your AirPods are struggling to kick in, but I miss it. Like, it goes quiet. So you could just be talking, okay? And I didn't hear you say all right then, so it's fine. I can just like ignore you. How do you know I said that? Because I can lip read. So good result for this team. Did forfeit 1 game and cancel it away, as many Div 2s have done it. I'm buzzing we made sure this wasn't the case for us. Shane Ward, we can call you, but it's Sean Ward, Salt. That's what I thought. Not enough games to settle in. If they wanted to play more games, they could have done. I think DK probably fishing there. Dominic Wu, everyone cares about rankings. Adam Bamba, Wu's here.
Wu's here.
Wu's here. Everyone has an opinion about the rankings. Nice for him to show up. I think they'll talk about Dominic Wu. Let's get on to some more of these games. So Sheffield probably could have... good season, fellas. Sheffield probably could have played more games, is what we're suggesting. But Manchester versus Merseyside Nighthawks. Do you want to give us a tale of the tape of the actual game, Sam? I couldn't make it.
It's about the Titans so much that I don't want to go on and on and on.
No, just give us a synopsis of the game.
So it was just a good all-round kind of team performance. Offense drove the ball really well. We've game planned all week and basically said we weren't going to be able to pass the ball deep because that's what they're trying to take away. But then in reality, after planning for that all week, that's pretty much all we scored on is going deep. I suppose we fucked about a little bit. We tried 3 trick plays. 2 of them worked. The other one didn't. Defense played lights out. Nighthawks are without Ben, the starting QB, have been for most of the season. But Dom Wu's played quarterback before. He's a good runner. Loves punching people, don't you, Dom? Go on, put it in the comments. He's just an angry man, aren't you, Dom? I think you'd agree. But I think Nighthawks will know that.
I think it's clear to say this Nighthawks team, just for everyone's, isn't the same Nighthawks team of old, is it? They're definitely on a rebuild. They're young on defense. They're missing some guys. It's fair to say, isn't it?
Any team that misses their starting quarterback is gonna struggle. So with Ben out, they have to make the best of the situation. No offense to Dom. Dom's not Harry, and it's Yeah, so it was going to be tough for them. They do have some young guys. They've got loads of guys from John Moore's uni and Liverpool Raptors. So, I suppose it is predictable, Corey. Don't tell them the secret, though. But it'll be interesting for me to see. Yeah, he knows. It'll be interesting for me to see how the Nighthawks go now because, and I don't think that I'm being too harsh when I say they could go one of two ways. They could either get right back on track, or they could really struggle. It depends on.
What's this about? Don't forget to mention the knee. Remember that?
It wasn't my knee, it was my hamstring.
No, maybe you taking a knee? Did you do something while she was taking a knee or something? I don't know. I've heard different things.
To get the clip, is it possible or not?
Oh, no, yeah, I can show the clip. I just didn't know if you wanted me to show the clip. Don't you worry about that.
That's why you're getting it up. Basically, we didn't want a rolling clock. I think it was in the first half. So we decided that on a PAT, which would have put us into a rolling clock, we were going to take a knee. So we went for a 2-point conversion. And it was basically, I was saying to the O-line, I was like, I'm just going to take a knee. And they were all like, they don't understand. They were confused. Pumpkin was saying, well, I'm not going to snap you the fucking ball then. And I was like, well, we won't score points regardless then. Anyway, so I took a knee, but before I took the knee, I kind of improvised a little bit, and I was a bit of a shit house. Sorry, Merseyside. It was just for banter.
I don't know if you can see this.
It's the important thing, Boogie.
What's that? Is it the audio that's important?
I fake a pass and shout, psych. But to just talk about it doesn't quite give it the...
Yeah. So you just didn't want a rolling clock. I like it. Shithouser, but it was fine. We like it. There was missing a starting DB. Merseyside should just merge into the Titans and go win a national championship. Rolling. Psych. Was that you going for 2 and then took a knee? Yes, I think it was. That appears to be the case.
It was good to see Adam back on Sunday. Adam Stevens, for those who don't know, is a DB for the Nighthawks, and he also runs Lockdown Lids, which is like memorabilia.
Whoa! You got to pay for those privileges.
EP Sports. Anyway, basically, Adam had a really bad. Adam had a really bad time basically over lockdown. He got ill, I think, with a couple of different things, and basically, Adam was almost dead. He almost died.
Bloody hell! Give his fucking business a plug then, Jesus.
Sorry.
Lockdown Lids, go on, give him a plug.
Right, Lockdown Lids. If you want that signed memorabilia, you get to Lockdown Lids. Anyway, basically, and I think that Sunday was Adam's maybe his first game back. So after he lost a load of weight and he was like on death's door, it's good to see him back. I didn't realise he was there until the end of the game, but good to see him in kit and good to see that he's back.
Yeah. So the next two games we've got. Sorry, mate. The next 2 games we've got were ones that we had a bet on. So I don't know if you heard about this bet, but basically, yeah. So we had Stinkin' Lincoln, who will always be known now as Stinkin' Lincoln, which is South Links Lightning versus the Lincolnshire Bombers. I had the Lincolnshire Bombers to win. They won 14-6, thank God. But Nottingham Caesars only won 16-7 because Grant decided to go out and start kissing some girls or something, and had to have a PCR test, so couldn't be there. I had a 14-point swing on them. I think they won by 9 in the end. Me and Adam had that as a double bet. The loser would have had to get a tattoo of Britballin. As there's no winner, we'll do a rollover or something, and we'll reinvest that for next year. Honestly, this week I was panicking.
That genuinely, these bets are getting out of hand.
I know, yeah. I think because it was towards the end of the year, I was like, how can I reach the top? Like you're in this week for a bet, by the way.
Playing. Depends on who's playing.
Yeah. So yeah, they are getting a bit out of hand. But the best thing they ever did was back the Titans, and they got a big win. And I remember Luke messaging me like the day of, going, "You're welcome." I was like, "Yes, come on." Norwich Devils 18, Colchester Gladiators 0. So Nottingham did beat Northampton Knights 16-7. So as kind of expected, would just like Nottingham to have scored more. Nottingham Devils, like I said, 18, Colchester Gladiators 0. Swindon Storm 30, Birmingham Bulls 30. So that was a draw. That was a real surprising result. So last week, Birmingham went and pretty much run Leicester fairly close. And then all of a sudden this week, struggled to beat what we know is a pretty poor Swindon team.
Match up poorly against them, or
yeah,
I don't know.
It's one of those. Adam, had sepsis, but back to it. Not full up to full health to play DB of the season. Back next year, mate. Well, you look good in blue anyway, Adam. So yeah, door's always open. Recruitment never stops. All bets going forward need to be gravy based. It's true. Knight's defense is not underestimated. Sam did say after the show he's going to do a pint of gravy anyway for us all after coming onto the show.
It will not be doing that. I love gravy, but I also I don't want to die.
It's awful. It's absolutely awful. You sound really bad now, mate. I don't know if you can fix it. You keep just cutting off. Yeah. London Blitz B lost. London Blitz B lost 6-34 to London Hornets. I nearly got Adam to bet on that one as well, so that would have been a good one because we wanted the Hornets to win, and they did convincingly. I'm just going to talk through the results as Sam tries to fix his sound. Talk at any point. Oxford Saints 12, Wembley Stallions 32, Torbay Trojans 30 in a pasty bowl. Torbay getting 30 points, and then Cornwall Monarchs getting 50. A nice result, that 30-50, good result. Bristol Apache 26, Somerset Wyverns 2, fairly convincing result for the Apache. Probably would have expected them to score more. Rushmore Knights 14, Solent Thrashers 34. Good result again for Rushmore coming up. But again, it's not really a good result, but still a good result because Solent are a very, very good team. Looks like the Knights defence just is not to be underestimated. Just like beef soup. It's a good point. Do we get a tail of the tape from Tamworth versus Blitz? That's our last one to pick up on. I'll be picking Sam's brain to see if he knows much about that one. East Essex Sabres in our Towie Bowl got absolutely thumped 6-40 against the Essex Spartans. Big up the Essex Spartans. I think that makes them 2-1 on the Towie Bowls. Well done to them. Great result. So the Essex Spartans. Spartans are the true kings of Towie, and all your team get a free vajazzle on your head coach. So just speak to your head coach, and you can get a free vajazzle. East Kent Mavericks 41, Southwick Squadron. You've been poor all year. You get beat 41-0. Again, 2 games now, cross-division games to wrap up on. One that you're vested interested in. Lee Miners 2, Crew Railroaders 44. Thoughts on that?
I think that's actually a good showing for Lee Miners. I realised they didn't score, not properly anyway. But after what they've had, and I realised that Crew are kind of, towards the bottom end of Division 2. No offence, Crew, if I'm wrong about that. But so yeah, I mean, to be able to go in at that level and say, okay, well, this is where we were last year. If they get some, I don't know their coaching staff, but if they get some decent coaching done in the off season, organise themselves, maybe they compete in Div 2 a little bit.
Yeah, they need to get better. Had a chance to train along Sam with the Titans a few years back before moving to the States. Absolute privilege.
Lovely.
What a lovely comment that is.
I think that's really nice. That I wish my friends were as nice as that to me. They're literally in the chat just to belittle me.
That's when you know the true friends, right? Like nobody's ever said anything nice on here to me, apart from people I don't really know. And then everyone I know is like, "Oh mate, you stupid fat shit! Like fuck off!" Like loads of shit from people. So is it true? So obviously, it does. So, I mean, perfect example. Literally one of my best mates in the world. You might get some playing time at the Man City goal then next year, mate. I love how he probably started typing that when we was talking about the Titans and stuff. So don't worry too much about that. Delete this, Adam. Again, one of your mates coming.
That's my biggest hater right there, which is unbelievable considering that 20 of my 41 touchdowns this year went to him.
50%.
And he just is never said. I'd love him to
you had
say
to
nice
throw it to someone because Nunes weren't there, were you? Do you know what I mean? Like, you had to throw it to someone. It's been Nunes for the past couple of years. Adam got his reps this year. And I actually apologised live on air to Adam for saying he was inconsistent. Underrated.
I saw it. He sent me a video and he teared up once.
Yeah. The bridges were built, let's say. Lee Miners, Adam Brown, swanky picture, Adam. Lee Miners seeing out the season, playing every game has to be a positive for them. You can't argue with it. I bet they've had a fucking good time. They have a sesh by the looks of things.
My God, yeah. Those boys drink, don't they? When I talked to their head coach, James, in pre-season about because at first he thought that we were going to be playing the Titans and stuff like that. He was basically like, "We're just council estate lads who like to drink." That's legitimately how he described the Lee Miners.
Hey, and they do, and they have a good time doing it. Again, another good friend of mine might finally keep your spot rather than being our bag boy. I would class Corey as a friend, and this is what the comments we get. He's inconsistent. This is true. I'm overtly jealous of Adam Bamber. Join the club.
Good use of overtly. Love that.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. No, we're talking about Adam Bamber fresh, being unkind to me, even though I am his provider. I'm his feeder. I am the hand that gives. Yeah. And people are being nice to him.
Being nice to him and still not being nice to you. But then we'll always have Patrick in the sunshine. That's what we always got. Patrick, my guy, Patrick.
We'll always have sunshine.
There'll always be Patrick, and there'll always be Huddersfield and the story.
Keep that.
Move on
quick.
Move on. I talk fresh. I feel like this is just becoming a Titans podcast
right
now.
Move on.
So Blitz versus Tamworth. I'm frustrated / really fucking annoyed that this game happened. Because I looked Jason dead in the eye on this show and said, "Will you be playing any cross-division games?" He said to me, "Listen, Mike, we haven't got time for it. Blitz versus Phoenix. Fair play. Tamworth, you came out your box of the safety comfort of that division and you played a big team and you got beat. It's
so tough. It's so tough to know what the situation is because you've got that game between the Blitz and the Warriors.
Yeah,
which
no clue what happened then.
There's a story there. There is a story. We just don't know it. There's no doubt in my mind. And then we have the result that we had this weekend with Tamworth and that's my other cat. The result we had this weekend with Tamworth and Blitz, and I'm kind of thinking, so where's everyone at? You know.
It makes for an interesting reading for next year. I mean, 10-7's a close game. I can only assume Tamworth would have been missing some guys because of the time of the year and university season starting. Well, the same could have been said to Blitz. I would like to know more about the game.
Was it in London? Do we know if it was in London?
It looked like it was in London from the couple of pictures.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking...
Good comment. Yeah. Good comment.
Yeah, I love to see that.
Love to see that.
Oh, that's feel good. That's feel good, that, isn't it? Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
We went to see the first half of the game. I think it was arranged last minute, and both teams had a few people missing.
Right.
Fair enough. Yeah. So it probably, whilst they got to play a game, I don't think it gives a true reflection of the actual game, really, does it? Or where everyone's at. I think really surprising result with the Warriors a couple of weeks ago and the Blitz, that being really close. My feedback from that was the Warriors defense was just stinking and they saw Blitz did stuff that they just didn't expect. So yeah, we'll see. Saw some of the Instagram posts. Didn't look like anywhere near full Nick squad travelling down. I can't imagine there will have been for many.
No, if
reasons.
it's away and it's last minute, and I know that, you know, Nottingham, for example, where Jason coaches, they've started they're heavily into their pre-season, I think. So I don't know. It's fun to sit and speculate, but if we put our kind of sensible hat on, it's probably not much to take.
It probably wasn't really Tamworth versus Blitz. It was probably just those lads wearing those colours. It's probably fair to say. So we're going to have a quick sneak peek into next week. There's not many games now, so I think that's pretty much the main slate of games over. There's just kind of really Scotland remaining. So I'm just going to quickly run through these, and if you've got an opinion or who you think's going to win, feel free. So we've got the reverse fixture of Dunfermline Knights versus Clyde Valley Blackhawks. Clyde Valley won last week. Probably should just squeeze it again this week. It's at Dunfermline, so it might give a couple of ones either way, but I can see it being a very, very close game.
I don't know what the quarterback situation is at Blackhawks at the minute, because I know that their starting quarterback had a bad injury, but I also don't know at what level the are they called the Kings? Sorry,
Dunfermline Kings.
Yeah, I don't know what level they're at.
I think it's Dom Edmondson.
He's helping out there, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Bristol Aztecs versus South Wales Warriors. We're just always hoping the show that Bristol go and thump South Wales, because.
Yeah, I like to stay pretty diplomatic, really, but fuck South Wales Warriors.
Yeah, fair enough. Sit on the fence there. You're usually pretty good at sitting on the fence, but I like that.
Yeah, I don't want to publicly put anything out there that can be used against me or bulletin board material. But I mean, fuck the South Wales Warriors, right?
They've got a long, long time before they change that opinion of him. But they never want. It doesn't appear that they want to change that opinion of him. So
no, they've done nothing, said nothing. If they said something, then I'd be like, yeah, bad egg that. Maybe get rid. But no, the sound of it. I don't even want to talk about it, mate. But
no, don't give him the airtime. Fuck him.
It's rough. Move on. I'm getting angry now. Getting all
right. We've got the game of the week stored. So Highland Stags versus Dumfries Hunters. Take your pick. I think Highland should just edge that one. I think. Inverclyde Goliaths versus Glasgow Tigers. That's a good game. It's pretty much like that Div 1 battle. I think I'm going to go out and say Glasgow just win that one. It should be a close game. Just prefer Glasgow's helmets. And then I would say the game of the week, which I am going to ask for your opinion on. We've got EKP versus Edinburgh Wolves. In what I would say is the game of the week. It's a good game. So a bit of context, obviously, if you don't know, EKP did beat Edinburgh first game of the season 14-0. Have you got any thoughts in terms of who will win that game?
Yeah. So Edinburgh Wolves aren't, whipping boys by any means. They've got a really, really solid defense. Ross and I think it's Jamie in the middle at linebacker. Ridiculous. Two of the nastiest, not nasty as in
Jason Gray's called him.
Jason, that's it. Jason Lang or Gray.
Gray.
Yeah.
Gray, yeah.
Defensively they're solid, and having Jamie back is a big boost for them. Back to stroking the pussy again. It's a massive boost for them. But I just think that EKP are probably legit. When we played them in 2018, when they were still in the Prem, and even when they got relegated, they weren't, regardless of what the actual scoreline said, they weren't a bad team at all.
No.
I'm getting rid of my cat for a second. I'm putting him in the bin. They weren't a bad team. Defensively, they had some young guys who were really good. And I know that they've picked up guys from other Scottish teams. I know that they've got, a couple of D-line.
Interesting stat about them. I think their average age of their team is 23. EKP, they're so young. They're so young. So they're going to be good for so long, I think. And, J Moss. Great Britain Jamie, we now call him. But yeah, I think J Moss is going to get him into good shape. I think EKP win that game.
Yeah,
by a
I
bigger
think
margin this time.
I think EKP win the game, and I can't see past EKP being back in the Premiership the following season. And I think that, that's no disrespect to the likes of Leicester. It's no disrespect to the likes of Northumberland. Or am I forgetting somebody else in the north who could challenge for that, realistically?
Shropshire, Yorkshire.
Chester. Maybe Yorkshire. I don't know where they're at. But for those guys, like, I cannot see past EKP. I can't see past them. And the only thing in my mind that I sit there and think could throw any kind of weird spanner in the works is if perhaps, and I don't know if they're allowed to do this, but if Sandwell were to voluntarily drop down,
before,
well, in my opinion, you put EKP in,
Leicester?
Yeah, but that's because I probably have a bit of a harsh opinion about the whole American quarterback every year situation. A different American quarterback every year, not sustainable. Whereas I look at teams like Northumberland, Chester, EKP, and I'm like, okay, you have a really sustainable program. That's not to say that Leicester aren't doing good things, because I know they've got a youth program. I know that they're really putting a lot of energy and time into that.
But no bones about it. If Guy leaves that club, then Leicester just go back into nothingness. Like, Guy pulls the strings and brings the guys. No, it's true. Like, I've got an actual okay relationship with Guy. He's pretty open and transparent. If he leaves that club and takes his money and his support with it, that they fall into nothingness. Like they do. Like they've just not got the pull. When Tamworth's on your doorstep, how the bloody hell do you keep those guys without?
Yeah, it's tough, and I look back to the Leicester game where we played them, and they brought in Stuart Franklin, who's the ex-London Blitz quarterback, ex-GB quarterback, and stuff like that, and a talented guy. I'm not saying anything about his ability, but when they played us, they had a young guy, and he played us. He came in, I think, for the first drive or two. And he didn't do so well to start with. And then they put Stuart in. And that was, a mixed bag and stuff like that. And I know that Stuart's been involved in the club before, but in my honest opinion, in this season that didn't count, Stuart's not the future of that franchise at quarterback. No. Why would you not play the young guy? And just say, and if it's trial by fire, if it's baptism by fire, then so be it,
Because the future of their franchise is sat in Wyoming now, just finishing his high school education, not getting any offers, so decides to come to the UK.
Guys just logged on to the portal now to see if he can find anybody in Wyoming.
Yeah. Come on, Josh Allen's understood it.
But yeah, I think EKP is a team that probably deserves to be in the Prem North. I don't want an extra trip up to Scotland, but
no one wants that.
I think they're just solid everywhere.
They're legit, they're young, and they're very, very, from what I can see, very hungry to want to do better. They've got great coaching set up, great infrastructure, great pull, great youth set up, great program. EKP, I think, in 5 years will be challenging for a Britball.
I wouldn't be shocked. They used to be, didn't they? And when you've been part of that program and you know how it's supposed to go, you can get back there. Yeah. It's just buy-in.
Yeah, can't blame a young QB for messing up. That's the OC's fault. Give the right players. I know that's true, and shame your young QBs haven't got a good OC. I'm only joking. I like Grant. I just want to go play for them then.
Jesus.
Again, a good friend of mine. A good friend. Right, what we're going to do now is just to wrap up, we're just going to jump onto the power rankings. Feel free to be as diplomatic as you want. I'll press you for every single opinion that I possibly can. But I understand you might have splinters in your backside. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
No bulletin board material.
No bulletin board material. So here we've got the rankings here. We've got Warriors 1, Blitz 2, Tamworth 3. Well, we know that's pretty much set with Blitz and Tamworth there. One thing we've got is the Titans at 4. Genuine opinion, Sam, where do you have the Titans out of those top 4? We know they're the best 4 teams in the country. Where do you place the Titans?
I genuinely believe that if you go off the results, I believe we deserve to be above Tamworth. And if Tamworth were here, they'd be saying something similar or giving their reasons as to why they're above. Unfortunately, no, I'll talk about that in a second. Unfortunately, Tamworth aren't the ones here, it's me. And so I'm going to be biased and say that I think that we're ahead of them. And
I think when you, and I will just jump in there, when you have the Titans, quite frankly, demolishing the Nighthawks that you pretty much did this week, I think it was like 50 to single scores. I think we asked for a big result of the Titans. They gave us a very more impressive result than I would have expected, genuinely knowing there was guys missing from that starting lineup. Like when I had a look at the roster that came out, starting centre, starting left guard, back knee, starting wide receivers missing, starting running back missing. It's fair to say that wasn't a full strength Titans team that took the field and quite frankly demolished the Nighthawks there. So I mean, it just shows you're the glue there, doesn't it, Sam? If Bloomfield's playing, Titans are scoring.
I feel like it's deserved, and it's a year that doesn't count. So if Tamworth are really, really unhappy about being in 4th place, I would probably be if I was in their place too.
Yeah, but Tamworth, you lost to the Blitz. Now, my theory.
Keep going. I'm going to listen.
My theory is I would have Titans above Blitz right now. For the reasons that we've asked, Titans are now 11-0 on the season, 9-0 in terms of games played. The Blitz have lost. They was run close by Kent. They was run close by the Olympians, I think, for a game. And Kent's down here. Whilst the Blitz did shock us all by running the Warriors close, and they've just beat Tamworth, I think the Titans have just done enough to be just above the Blitz this year, just because I respect more the undefeated season and the way they've gone about the business. The only Prem team they've played, I think on the surface, was the Nighthawks. I think that's right, and they pretty much beat them in an aggregate fixture of about 80 to probably like 90 to 30. So it's fairly comprehensive on those 2 fixtures for me. Enough to take it to there. What's your thoughts on that?
So we overall beat the Nighthawks 96 to 17, I think it was.
Right.
16. 96 to 16 or something like that. So it wasn't 30. The defense will be unhappy if you say that. But in terms of,
I thought it scored more in the first game.
In the first game, it was 10.
Oh, right, okay.
And in the second game, it was 6.
Right.
Luke's right. I should not do maths. But someone in the comments, number 1, F, please, and number 2, say whatever it was we scored over the 2 games. I suppose that's the irrelevant part of this conversation. The thing for me is it's so hard to argue against Blitz being in 2 because of the score of the Blitz Warriors game. Like, people traditionally don't run the Warriors close, and obviously the Warriors should, historically, but not in the past. Would you say 2 or 3 years? It's really tough to call, and do I believe that the Titans. Very important to note that it's not 95 points. Just a quick side note.
It's just impressive when you see it, actually.
If you had a fantasy football league, and every time you wanted to pick up a player off the waiver wire, it cost you money. You had to bid money against other people, and you had $100 for the season. Would you bid $95 for a rookie player who's played one game and had a decent performance?
Probably not. Depends. I mean, there's
no.
no way I could justify that. Depends who the rookie is, but no, probably not. I mean, if I had retrospect and it was Randy Moss and his second week for the Vikings, then maybe. But yeah, it's probably not. Who
so,
did? Story time.
What's his name? Is it? Oh, okay. So Elijah Mitchell for the San Francisco 49ers in week 1.
Yeah.
He had like a good performance. Good. It wasn't like groundbreaking, but it was good. You know, he scored in a PPR league. He scored 16 points. So it's like, oh, that's all right. That's a Derrick Henry bad day.
Yeah.
You know, and we have a young man in our keeper fantasy league who decided that he was going to bid $95 for this player. Bearing in mind that was week 2, and there's what? 16.
I'm assuming the worst thing is I think probably Jamar Chase would have been on the waiver wire at that point.
No, we're in a 12 team league. Okay. It gets thin at the end, but So shout out Dave Barnett for giving us meme material for the next 4 years.
It could only be one person. If I could have guessed the one person, knowing your crew, it'd have been Barnett.
Well, I'm in about 4 or 5 different group chats with him, and since he's done it and we've absolutely shredded him to bits, he's not said a word. Not in one group chat. It is in a bad way. He must be in a real bad way. He's changing his teams, and that's the only reason I know he's not dead.
Yeah. Or someone's playing him. He's handing over his password to somebody.
Yeah. So we just constantly reference 95 now. It's everywhere.
Fair enough.
But let's return. Basically, I have no problem really with the Titans being in position number 2 because I feel like our results. If you're ranking teams based solely on results, I feel like that's where we would be logically. However. God, Dave does have a balcony. However, I don't know if I can look past the Warriors Blitz result. And because I don't know the story, it's so tough. So realistically,
then they beat Phoenix. So that's a fair assumption. It's a really good assumption.
Yeah, I think that we're better than third place. I do think we're better than third place. Would Titans have gone undefeated in Blitz division?
I think they would have lost 2 games to the Warriors and beat everyone else, in my opinion.
I think it's a fair assessment to say based off where we were last time we played the Warriors. You know, that's not to say that that's where we feel we're going to be at next time.
No.
But I just feel like Porter's joints. I can't argue with that logic.
It's solid logic.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to go rock, paper, scissors, shoot, and we show on shoot.
Okay, who are you? I'll be
I'm Titan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready?
Rock, paper, scissors. Time out. That's one of 2 I can use.
Right, okay. It's tough.
All right, I'm ready. Okay, where's the camera? Okay, ready? On shoot.
Yeah.
You know it's impossible to try and lose at rock, paper, scissors.
Is it?
Yeah. Ready?
Rock,
paper, scissors, shoot.
Time out!
Oh, you see my hand there.
I iced the kicker. I iced the kicker. Oh.
I'm in trouble now. Can I call Luke Carlton? He'll know what to do here.
I'm gonna take a knee. Take. Okay.
Right. We're ready.
Right. Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ready?
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Time out. I've seen that again. Time out. Okay. The mind games. Okay, ready?
I'm going to sidearm this one in. Ready?
Yep.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, we're on the same mind.
For Christ's sake.
I tell you what, we've got.
Put us tied second. Tell me why not.
Come on, last one. There's got to be a winner. It's American football. We don't do draws.
Right. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Jesus Christ. We think alike. It's why we're the brains.
Right, one more tie, and Titans and Blitz have tied second place.
Yeah, fair enough. You've still got one time out remaining.
I don't. How dare you?
Time out management.
Ready? One. Rock, scissors, paper, go.
Oh, it's tied.
Right. Put us tied. It's it. That's it. The Blitz can't complain about that.
No,
we brought great television.
High quality.
We plugged lockdown lids.
Bring back Adam. Such a twat. Oh, that's fair. It's fair. No one can argue with that. They go second. It's a draw.
People will comment on the post now. Just leave it.
Can't even win this.
Oh, gee.
People might think we're like typing messages. I promise that we couldn't.
Can you break that? Can you blame me? I got sweaty hands. It's wet Sam over here.
Sammy wet Sam. Right. Okay. That's fair. And there's a vacant third spot. That's fine. There's no worries. That's it. There's no third. Just joint second. Tamworth for fourth. Solent 5. Tell me if you would disagree with anyone. There's not been a lot of change here. Solent 5. Aztecs 6, Exile 7, Nighthawks 8. So for me, this is where it's difficult to say the Nighthawks slide because, yes, they were convincingly beat by Manchester, but then again, so is everyone else who would be below them. So it's difficult. All I would say is
it's tough because when we played Leicester, Nighthawks defense was more challenging than Leicester's defence.
Yeah. But what about Northumbria's defence? Because Adam asked me this, out of Nighthawks, so we've got a game tomorrow, you've got Nighthawks, Falcons, or Northumbria. Who do you want to play?
I want to play the defence that suits us the most, which is Nighthawks defence suits us pretty well.
Cover 0.
Nighthawks defense suits us pretty well. Leicester running cover 0 against what I believe we would probably be reasonably allowed to call, a pretty heavy passing attack. We're talking about pissing on. Oh, okay, yeah.
Classic. Matt and Adam are in the and Ryan are in the chat, so he's going to be talking about pissing on dicks.
And then I'd take those two because Northumberland played a defense that is slight. I'm not saying that it worries us, but their alignments are slightly more have to make us have to think a little bit more than what Merseyside ran.
The team I wouldn't want to play there would be, I'm going to say it now, Northumbria, just to piss off Ben Reid. That's the team out of those two teams, and maybe because we've seen the other two more, knowing that Northumberland were with their second string QB and then the third, they were the ones, to me, looking back, they're probably the best out of those three teams. But then we didn't play
their defense gave us more problems. I also don't think we helped ourselves, but credit where it's due. They made us think a little bit more than the other two defenses did, and so I suppose they're the third choice defense out of those three that I'd rather face.
And then offensively, they do have a little bit more, don't they? For me, I mean, the only thing is Leicester's offense with their American QB won Tamworth pretty close, but this is where is always my problem. This is why I think I don't know, Merseyside, and I think I'm going to slide below Leicester for me. It's just a bit of a mess here because
it is. I don't know much about the London O's. I can't really comment on that.
They beat Kent once, but they're 1-5. They beat Kent, but then they was missing their quarterback. So
yeah,
kind of
in my opinion,
Sheffield
probably. Gosh, yeah, I think you possibly. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about Hertfordshire, but haven't they had a good year?
They have had a good year. They're okay. Yeah, they're fine. They've had a decent year. The problem is with like Hertfordshire, they haven't played kind of like super high caliber competition, so they haven't played like they're probably like a really good Div 1 team, but they haven't like, run any Prem teams close, so it's difficult to get that feel for how good they actually are. Obviously, Yorkshire have just beat Sheffield. On the grand scheme of things, does that move them above Sheffield? It's a 1-point win. We know Sheffield are the Prem team. They were winning last time. Is that enough for you to take the Rams above them?
Yeah, it is. Because the first fixture, both teams are kind of, from what I think I've seen, both teams talk about the first fixture being like a bit of a write-off and how much time was left, and I know there's games this year when we've been only one score up or something at the half, or two scores up, or what, I think maybe even one score down in a game, and there's no lack of confidence from us. We're in the huddle saying, right, we just need to do this and that, and then we'll be fine, and then we go and do it. I cannot definitively say that Yorkshire wouldn't have made that first game closer with the amount of time that I believe was left. And ultimately, we only have one result. And the result is that the Yorkshire Rams are undefeated this season, and the Sheffield Giants have lost 2 games this season.
Yeah. And with that being said, we know Sheffield got beat. From what I mind, I can't remember the score, but they could convincingly enough beat off Merseyside. I know they took a bit of a lighter squad, and we know then by proxy, Chester Romans run Merseyside Nighthawks really close. Does that mean Chester go above Sheffield, and Sheffield tumble even more? This is the difficulty of power rankings.
It's such a mess. I don't want to do it, to be honest. Can we just knock it on the head and not do it?
Because of the fallout. This is it. This is live TV. This is the fallout that comes with it. Like, do Sheffield tumble that far? Because by proxy, they beat them. We can't move them above them. The Sheffield tumble all the way down.
You know what? Right, if I'm sitting here thinking about it, Chester had 2 chances to go against the Nighthawks, and they scored a shitload of points. They conceded a shitload of points, but they ran them close both times. Now, Sheffield, I don't think the score between Sheffield and Merseyside was I don't think the score between Sheffield and Merseyside was like crazy different. Like, I think it was within reach for Sheffield potentially, but Chester did bits.
You can take your final time out if you want now.
Oh my God! Thank God for Joe.
Always nothing to do with that timeout. Just in general,
thank God for Joe.
that comment could have been made any day on a random Tuesday in Stoke. That comment could have been made.
God, 95 out of 100 him. So I think Chester.
It's a game.
How can Chester not be above Sheffield? Yeah. And that's purely based off results. Do I think that the result would be go in Chester's favour if they play Sheffield?
It's difficult. We can't do that. We committed at the start of the season that the power rankings were based on this season. Like that's one of the things we said. The results this season, because I've done it loads of times. Like I've had it previously where Sheffield are really high early in the season. But I kind of what Merseyside would beat them, like based on previous. Like I know they would beat them. I was confident that Yorkshire would run them close. So for me, that's why on results they are just below Chester. Would they potentially beat Chester in a game? Maybe.
I don't know.
It's hard to say. We don't know the tail of the tape. Sheffield could have been missing loads of guys, and we could just phone Henry Kay. This is always the case. We did that once. That was hilarious. And
I'm sure Henrique. Okay,
Henrique.
I call him Helen.
Yeah. So we rung him, and he had. He said, I think word for word, Sheffield were above Tamworth. They would beat Phoenix.
I've got a video saved on my phone of Helen saying that we can get the smoke anytime we want it.
Oh, the smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, so up Merseyside Nighthawks as a group. I love that they're watching it off their main page. Love that. Nighthawks Sheffield.
I want to know if someone's accidentally commented that on the night.
Oh yeah, Pete Horan's absolutely dropped a ball there.
So you know, it's not that definitive.
I mean, that's 16 points. That's far enough for me. That there was no game with the Romans that was 16 points. Yeah. And Romans scored significantly more. So interesting. I think they got a little lost in the smoke. No, I'm happy with that. I think
you keep going with the rankings. I'm going to give you thumbs up or thumbs down. I've got to charge this one headphone for about 2 minutes.
I think the rankings below are going to kind of stay the same. So we've got Shropshire. Shropshire are going to stay there. Caesars. This is another difficult one. On results alone, I like the Caesars in terms of what they've done. Obviously, they're fairly impressive. They've won every game. We know how good they are. We played them. They're a very impressive team. Their results, the only reason I can't put them above Shropshire is because Shropshire's slid and lost games because they've lost against Tamworth, big results. We know what that's like. You know, when you're a Div 1 team moving up into the Prem, we got hammered by Tamworth first game. I think Tamworth are very good at doing that because they're just so well disciplined. So that's why I can't justify moving the Caesars above Shropshire for now. And it's difficult because the season's going to run out on the Caesars. But, you know, Caesars have done really well to get to where they are from where they've been. All credit to Grant and his staff for getting them there. I can't really see nothing other than, I don't know, I really believe Essex have now solidified themselves. Birmingham are unfortunately going to have to now drop out. You had your moment in the sun, Birmingham, last week when you run Leicester close, but unfortunately not even getting the job done this week is really difficult. So Bournemouth and Essex, I would say Essex are going to stay there. I think they've done really well this season. So again, you've done well to get to where you are for a Div 1 team, and that's no disrespect to them. They just took care of business all year, so well done. Pretty happy with the power rankings. There's probably getting towards the end. Is it better if I comment from here then? Lockdown Lids, look at that. That's absolutely classic promo there from Lockdown Lids. Hit us up in the DMs and you can stay there permanently. Mainstone above Titans.
No.
I can hear you. Yeah.
The only thing I want to say is, and actually someone has just asked me a question, messaged me a question about this. The Nottingham Caesars, defense is pretty good. They're a lot like Edinburgh in that they have these two linebackers who are really very good. And they also, within the first drive, they lost one of their other very good players to injury against us. Obviously, no grass in the Prem, so unfortunately, injuries like that happen when you play in the rain on grass. But I'm joking. That was pretty harsh. But really, no grass in the Prem.
I think that's actually a hashtag I might have started. That is my claim to fame this year for the Titans.
Defense is legit, at least in terms of like inside run. Now, don't get me wrong. Scored 4 rushing touchdowns against the Caesars. He had a good day, but the only reason for me that I can't argue for the Caesars to move up higher is because I've only seen their offense in that rain, and their offense struggled and sputtered just like ours did in that rain. And then once the rain stopped, they didn't get going after that. So we were fortunate to, once the rain starts, we got going, we got moving, you know, but their offense continued to sputter, even though, the ball's a little bit wet still because of the grass, but they didn't get going after that. And, you know, I think their defense did as much as they can possibly do against us, but eventually there needs to be some kind of help from the offense, at least to give the defense a rest as a bare minimum. But so I'm not going to sit and argue for the Caesars to be higher or lower or whatever. I just feel it appropriate to say that the Caesars defense, mainly because of these two particular linebackers, I don't really have an opinion of many other people on the defense, maybe one other guy. But those linebackers are legit, and you know, their inside run stuff is good, and I'm sure that Grant is gonna build around the players that he knows he has now, and play to their strengths. Well, I know he is because he's told me that he is.
Yeah. No, yeah, and like I said, they did put up a good fight. I would have liked to have seen that. I'd like to play that game again, maybe pre-season next year on 4G, and see what the score is. So. But yeah, Caesars again. I get it just by proxy almost. Again, it's difficult. I can't put them above Shropshire because Shropshire have beaten better teams. You know, they've handled Sandwell fairly convincingly this year. They've run Leicester close. You know, it's difficult to move you above Shropshire. Sheffield are a Premier League. It's just difficult to move you up. That's all. That's what we struggle with. Maybe Hearts could slide a bit, but it's difficult. That's why you are where you are. But I think still, you know, you've done well this year. So all credit to you guys. They should have a good team in Nottingham. We've got too many good universities around you. So keep going, Nottingham.
Hey, what about Cambridge? Haven't Cambridge gone like 8-0 and played really well against practically everybody?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure when we've looked at this before, it's just Cambridge have gone 8-0, but they've beaten, like, they're pretty much playing in like a Div 2 division. So when we had a look at it, I can't remember what last time we looked at it, that it was just tough because of the division it was in less so. I'm just having a look now. So because Hertfordshire have beaten, go on.
You know, the logic to me, and it's so tough. I really hate doing these power rankings. I didn't think it was going to be so horrible, but the logic to me says that, okay, so the Titans, we played, we played Merseyside, but apart from that, we played all Div 1 teams, so that's one step down. Cambridge, in theory, Div 1 team, played all Div 2 teams, one step down. I suppose it's a big difference if Cambridge are playing quality Div 2 teams compared to not very good. But
they've beat Oozvala, they've beat Ipswich, they beat Norwich, who were an associate team not too long ago, and Colchester. Like they should have beat all those teams. You know, they scored 279 points and against 65. It's fairly convincing. It's one of those, like, if you stepped out of that and maybe played a game against Hearts, like we could do that, or Bournemouth even. You know, there's games probably around you what you could play to see, but they've just not played anyone.
Yeah, I think people will try and look at it and say, well, the logic says that Titans did this but they're so high, and Tamworth did this and they're so high. But you make a good point of, like, the competition is important, I suppose.
Yeah. And that's why they're on there, because they're 8-0. They've beat everything in front of them, like a Tamworth have this year. You can only play what you can play, but go and play a decent Div 1 team and let's see the score. And
Caesars, apart from us, have Nottingham Caesars played like any Div 1 teams or anything like that?
I know they tried to get a game with Northumbria. They have played some games. Let me just have a quick look. But they're pretty much, again, they're the same. That they have been beating guys, but it's been guys who are like associate teams and teams in divisions close to them, but not played anyone who have jumped out to me. I'm just trying to find what division we're
down at the bottom here, like not even 15 onwards, like probably like 10 or 11 onwards. Such a mess.
Yeah.
They played all Division 2 teams.
Yeah, so they're another one. They played all Division 2. So it's difficult. Again, they're another team. And then the only one they had outside of that was us, which was a control to so no one actually knows the score of it. Oh no, it was a game actually.
It was posted. I don't know. They were.
It's like
every game was a game.
Yeah. So yeah, again, but then again, you could look at that. It's difficult because of the weather in that game to really rank it a lot higher. So yeah, well, at least you've had a bit of an insight to how difficult the power rankings are. I'm sure your DMs will be absolutely lighting up now because people will get on you now. So why have you not put me higher? You've already had your first instance of it of someone messaging you mid power rankings to ask.
The group chat I've been playing. Bloomfield Bingo, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I purposely close certain chats for this, just so I don't get distracted by it. But look, Sam, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Thanks for coming on Talking Ball. It's been really, really good fun to have you on. And for me, clear MVP. No one's tagged anyone to suggest otherwise. So for me, you're the MVP of the league. Well done. What was that?
Hat.
Yeah, we'll get you a hat. Someone still owes me a couple of quid. So when I get that couple of quid, we're just going to buy loads of bucket hats for that. So once that comes in, you get a bucket hat. You can have a Britballin bucket hat. So yeah, you're our MVP.
The Manchester Titans host of this show thinks that I'm the MVP. That's mad, that.
Mad, that. Big.
What are the chances?
Hey, if anyone can comment in the chat, name one person who deserves it more. 41 touchdowns, thousands of yards this year, no doubt. What is it? 400 points or something he scored this year, Titans offense?
5 points, maybe.
475 points. It's fairly impressive.
Must reach 500 club. Call you in a
week. Guys, thanks very much. Adam Bamber has been tagged as someone. He got 20 touchdowns. Without him, you're half as good.
20 touchdowns, pretty good. I would have thrown to someone else.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. George would have got more. Someone would have got more, wouldn't they?
They would have dropped it. He's my boy. Why am I saying that about him when he's just nothing but horrible to me?
Yeah. So for everyone watching, obviously there's going to be a bit of a surprise next week. In terms of first one is going to be Adam, hopefully on the show dressed as a Spice Girl, and I'm going to bring a little surprise to next week's show. So I vote Pumpkin as your MVP. Honestly, grow up. That's all I can say to him. Grow up. 6'7", but grow up.
Great at pissing in the shower. Love. Great at that.
Loved it. Right, so everyone, thanks very much for joining us. You can all go now. We're just going to talk about pissing in the showers. So, cheers. What time is it?
You know what time it is?
Put there. See you later, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.